Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 1, Unholy Beginning. Chapter 1, Unholy Beginning. Congratulations, you have been chosen as a new Saint. Congratulations, you have unlocked the class, Necromancer. Changing class to 2, Saintess Necromancer. Sophia froze as she read the illusory floating messages written by the system. Saintess. She had been preparing for her class change for weeks. Being an orphan class for 19 years was enough. Looking down from the system message back to her ritual, she failed to understand what went wrong. Inside the damp crypt, on the floor, a polished human skeleton sat in the center of an intricate magic circle. Blood still dripping from Sophia's arm was filling the grooves in the circle, bringing it to life. What do you mean, Saintess? Who wants to be the Saintess? The Saintess class wasn't a blessing, everybody knew that. It was a curse, a class you could never get rid of. The church would hunt you down and lock you up. Deep in the cathedral, they would force you to endlessly summon heroes to throw at any and all things they didn't like. Having you heal them every time they feel even a bit sore. Until someday you died of exhaustion and another unlucky girl got chosen after you. Sophia would rather die now than to have to live like that. She dreaded opening her status. The Necromancer prompt came after the other, there's still a chance. The familiar status screen didn't appear. Instead she heard the unassuming ding, announcer of a new message. Followed by many more. Error. User can only have one active class. Error. Please reduce your current classes to 1. Error. Unknown class. Admin action required. Available admins, 0. Initiating emergency recovery. Please wait. I've never heard of the system doing that. Am I the Saintess in the end? Please tell me I'm not. As the messages flowed one after the other, the skeleton was rising from the floor, one bone after the other. According to the grimoire she found under the orphanage library's floorboards, the ritual was the surefire way to become a necromancer. It would even raise your first undead. She had gone to painstaking lengths to sneak out and find a crypt with an intact skeleton inside. Sophia was sad that she couldn't even stay until the skeleton was fully raised. But she was in a lot of pain, the cut in her arm was deeper than she intended. The first priority was to get back into the orphanage and ask for help. Bleeding out wasn't in her plans for today. She clenched her wounded arm to slow the bleeding and ran, her sprint skill helping to return faster. It was still night outside but morning would come soon. Thankfully, the crypt was part of an old ruin near the village. She would be back before anyone woke up and make up some lie about how she got cut. The lights in the directors' and matrons' quarters are still out. Lucky. Sometimes someone would wake up early which made not getting caught harder. Sophia squeezed herself through the spiked fence in her secret spot. There, a bar's wells had eroded, allowing her to remove it and place it back without a trace. Going through the tight gap had become harder and harder for her these last few years. I need to be careful about not leaving blood everywhere. I'm dumb for cutting so deep. Before going inside she hid her clothes and shoes in a wooden crate that no one ever used. Then she struggled to put on her brown linen nightgown without staining it with blood all over. She climbed through the window she had left unlocked when she departed. The inside of the orphanage was darker than the moonlit outdoors but she knew the place like the back of her hand. She made her way to a half-broken shelf, near the common toilets. It had a protruding nail that no one had taken care of for a few days now. She slathered a bit of blood on it, and projected some on the wall under. Oh. I almost forgot to untie my hair. Alright, time for the fall. The stumbling made a lot of noise, Sophia even let out a high-pitched yelp of real fright in the fall. She even finished ripping the shelf off of the wall, as she instinctively grabbed it to slow her descent. Ow www it really hurts now, not just the arm but that should have done the job. It only took a few seconds before Clarice, the head matron, came running in, sleepy-eyed and also in her nightly attire. Sophia. Did you trip on your nightgown again? Seriously, how old are you? She was whispering to avoid waking everyone up. Ah. It hurts. Clarice, I think I'm bleeding. TSSK, you useless you, can you stand up on your own? Despite her words she immediately extended her hand and helped Sophia up. My, you're really bleeding. She failed to suppress her voice this time. Hold the wound, we're going to Mariella's room. Mariella wasn't happy to be woken up so early in the morning, but as the only healer on site she often dealt with such sleep interruptions. She didn't even look at the wound, she used her minor healing skill and went right back to sleep. The wound closed in a second. Sophia was as impressed as the first day she saw it. Magic looked so convenient, but getting a magic-oriented class was usually a privilege reserved for nobles. Very few of them would have been willing to teach a commoner. That's why she couldn't let go of the idea of becoming a necromancer after finding the grimoire. She had read so many books about great mages and glorious paladins, she couldn't settle for anything less than a magic class. And she thought that being able to summon whole armies of skeletons in the future was a very appealing idea. The only drawback was how much of a bad reputation necromancers had. Surely she could work with that, she thought. Are you okay now? Go back to your bed, I'll deal with the cleanup. Thank you, head matron. Sophia expressed her thanks in a deep bow that was only met with the make-believe cold gaze of the shorter woman. That went a lot better than I imagined. She didn't question me at all. My nightgown is a bit bloodstained now, but that's better than getting kicked out. She was already the eldest kid in the orphanage. In fact, she wasn't even a kid anymore. She had spent so much time reading books that no one wanted to adopt her, and now she was too old. Anyone else would have been thrown out by now, but no one wanted to take on her annoying chore of cleaning the library every day. Everyone was already overworked. The director conveniently forgot to kick her out again and again. He would waste money if he hired someone to clean it instead. But the books were in large part donations from the church, they couldn't be neglected. Or the orphanage would risk getting less contributions in the future. She figured all that out, but if she was too much of a nuisance they could still decide to get rid of her. Well, I'm leaving soon anyway. If I can just get my Necromancer class, I can survive forever in the wild with my army of undead. She tried to reassure herself, but living out in the wild still sounded like a step back to her. Maybe she could use her Necromancer powers to make an honest living somehow. The easy way out was to hunt weak monsters and sell the corpses. But now, that idea didn't sound quite as exciting as she hoped her future life would be. She could already see herself commanding a great skeletal army, repelling the dangers, being applauded by the masses. Who could stop her if she wanted to be a helpful necromancer? Besides the church, and the king, and the guards, and anyone physically stronger than her. She couldn't see a single flaw in her plan, or refused to acknowledge them anyway. But none of that could even have a chance to happen if she ended up being the Saintess. If that happened, she would have to try to escape the church's grasp by leaving the country. And she wouldn't bet a lot on her success. The kingdom was wide, and so was the reach of the church. It was a weird religion. One that only acknowledged a single god. When it was pretty clear the saints and saintesses would pop up with different powers in other kingdoms. It was a mystery to Sophia how they could have so much authority on everything. As if they had eyes and ears everywhere. Even in this small countryside orphanage she couldn't avoid their influence. It never bothered her before, but now that she risked being the Saintess, thinking about it started giving her anxiety. She couldn't wait to try the spells the grimoire taught her. Summon skeleton, could apparently summon a weak undead out of thin air. Just like that. Raise undead, could turn any dead monster into a tenacious zombie. And, drain blood, well, she did think, drain blood, was a bit weird, but it could heal the necromancer, the grimoire mentioned. A healing spell can't be that bad. Getting to her bed in the communal girls' room, hopeful and worried, she tried to sleep. I can't end up really being the Saintess, right? It so doesn't fit me. Don't do this to me. She woke up a few hours later to a series of system messages that had popped up in her sleep. Recovery partially successful. Classes have been reduced to 1. A new class has been created. Anomalies may arise. +1 classless skill slot has been awarded as compensation. Name, Sophia. Age, 19. Class, Orphan, greater than, Saintmancer. Level, 1 to 1. Health, 20/20 to 5/5. Stamina, 20/20 to 5/5. Mana, 10/10 to 5,000 and 5,000. Active skills, 0/5 to 3/5. New, Holy Skeleton, level 1, LV. 1. New, Heal Undead, level 1. New, Summon Blood, level 1. Read latest chapters on no.v.e.l.b.in.com. Passive skills, 0/5 to 1/5. New, Blessing of, Lev. Classless skills, 4/5 to 4/6. Menial chores, level 7. Sprint, level 3. Fast reading, level 12. Shenanigans, level 48. Summoned heroes, 1/4. LV.1 Holy Skeleton, human. She barely had any time to give a cursory glance to her status. The Saintess is awake. Guards, call for Magisterium Ovohin. The orphanage was a strict and restrictive home. Though, it was a home nonetheless. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 2, Holy See. Chapter 2, Holy See. Sophia didn't have time to process the surprise she felt from reading the weird, Saintmancer, title of her class. She focused on the unfamiliar place in which she had woken up. The church already got me. But how? When? Where am I? The prayer house in Verena isn't even large enough to have a room like this. She was on a plain but large bed, larger even than what the director had at the orphanage. The bed sat dead in the center of a very wide, and otherwise empty room. The indirect sunlight in the room came from large windows that covered a whole wall. The walls themselves, much like everything else beside the bed, were made of completely unadorned polished white marble like she had only ever seen used for the nobles' gravestones. The whole place felt very cold. The only other presence in the room was the robed priest that had spoken previously. He was a short and frail-looking old man, but he carried himself like he was some high-ranking noble. Maybe he is. She had the urge to jump at him, maul his face, and run out of the room. But she had seen the armored guards walk out of the room, surely they couldn't be far. Also, she was chained to the bed by her right ankle. I just wanted to summon skeletons. Sir Priest, I have a few questions. You may speak your mind, Saintess. The old man didn't bother turning to look at her, visibly absorbed by whatever he was looking at through the windows. Where am I? This is your new room in our Holy See, Saintess. The Holy See, in Einstein? Indeed. The capital is a 9-day carriage ride away from the orphanage in Verena. What do you mean we're in Einstein? Why not the Red Winds Empire while we're at it? How did I get here, exactly? You were summoned here by the Magisterium, Saintess. Sophia had a very hard time keeping her face from contorting. So they can just summon me here anytime they want? Good. Great. Fantastic. God, I want a refund on my life, please. Can anyone just do that? Only the Magisterium, Saintess. Only one person I need to murder in cold blood to get out of here then. Such a bargain. Thank you. They don't even see me as a danger. The chain was clearly more of an intimidation tool than a real restraint. It wasn't even tightened properly around her ankle. Loud steps echoed in the corridor outside the room. A gigantic mountain of a man in golden plate armor entered the room. He had to crouch to get under the door frame. Standing upright in the room, his graying hair almost touched the marble ceiling. He kneeled toward the old man. I get it, I probably couldn't even kill the man in his sleep. High Priest, you called. Rise. You may brief the Saintess on her duties. The High Priest unceremoniously left the room after giving his order. Ovohin closed the heavy wooden door behind the priest. Your job now is to follow my orders. No more, no less. He edged closer to the bed. If you do, you will get more amenities in your room, if not, you will lose them. Oh, so I can get transferred to a better jail if I'm a good prisoner, I see, very enticing. You should already have the Summon Hero skill. Dump all your mana into it to train it every day. It needs to be level 10 by the time you can actually finish the cast. It costs 6,000 mana to fully activate, so don't worry about summoning anything with the 1,000 you have. Age is already going for the door. Which is why starting tomorrow we're going to quickly get you up to level 50. That will take around 3 months. That's it for now. Perform your duties well, God's grace shan't be wasted. He left. I don't have the Summon Hero skill though. What is this? Summon blood, all about Anu shit. What if they're listening? Ah, I worry for nothing, they didn't even chain me up properly. Damn, my skills are weird. It's like both classes were just mashed together randomly. Sophia focused on a skill in particular, that's how you could access the description. Summon blood, summons a chosen blood. I don't know what I expected. She went through the whole list one by one. Holy skeleton, lights the way with a holy loyal skeleton. Heal undead, gather holy light to heal 10 asterisk skill level, health the tenacious undead that will fight for you. Blessing of, the Saintess is blessed by. The more she read the less she understood. The explanations made no sense. The last one isn't even a full sentence. She checked her previous skills. Menial chores, stamina consumption of all non-battle actions is reduced by 7%, 1 asterisk skill level. Sprint, top running speed is 30%, 10 asterisk skill level, higher. Fast reading, can read 120%, 10 asterisk skill level, faster. Shenanigans, analytical thinking is 48%, 1 asterisk skill level, more efficient when used for personal gains. These ones at least didn't change. I have way more mana than the man thought, with the class multipliers applied together. Necromancers get half health, half stamina and quintupled mana. That means Saintess gives half health, half stamina and 100 times the mana. What a cheat. Well, that means nothing with useless skills. She looked back at her mana pool with awe. 5,000. Wasn't that what she was supposed to have at level 50? How much would she have by then? If anything was a good surprise from the messed up classes, it was this. Some quick math, he said I should have 1,000 now and have 6,000s by level 50. So I would gain 100 per level. But it was quintupled and now I have 5,000, then I should get 500 mana a level. That's 30,000 at level 51. Summon skeleton, costs 50 mana. If the grimoire wasn't wrong, if I had it I could have 100 skeletons right now. But instead. Summoned heroes, 1/4. LV.1 Holy skeleton, human. There's a summon already, the skeleton in the crypt back in Verena, I guess. She couldn't lie to herself, holy skeleton did sound quite good. It couldn't possibly be worse than a basic skeleton, she hoped. What worried her most was the 4 summons limitation. Can I never have more than 4 undead? What kind of shitty necromancer is this? Wait, no, it says LV.1, that should NT be here. Necromancer summons can't level, the book said. Their level would be hidden and decided at the summoning. Maybe it's not so bad if they can level up. What would happen if they died, however? Would they be back to level 1? There's no way that it's better than having 100 basic skeletons. I can feel a faint link with it. She couldn't see through the skeleton's eyes or anything fancy like that. But she instinctively knew the skeleton's location compared to her. It seemed the holy skeleton skill could at least send simple orders as she felt the skeleton moving after ordering it to leave the crypt. The simple order cost her 800 mana points. Wow, that's expensive. Maybe because 8 is so far away. She thought it was a bit of a waste, but she spent 800 more mana to order it to go back to the crypt. No testing could be done if the skeleton got spotted and killed during the day. People usually weren't very kind to the undead. Ding! Holy Skeleton, reached level 2 new W novels updates on November, LBIN.com. So fast. My classless skills all took weeks to level up. Does just dumping mana in there do the trick? She contemplated spending all of her mana on useless commands right now to level it up more. I should still try the other ones first. Summon blood, did exactly what the skill said. It summoned some blood mid-air that fell off and formed a small puddle near the bed. She could see some practical uses for that, especially with how much mana she had. She could probably fill a whole barrel with the stuff. But it was hard to imagine just that helping her escape. What would higher levels do? Summon more. Heal undead, did exactly nothing. This one should be a priority once I get out, but before that, in the end, Holy Skeleton was probably the best choice to level up. Wouldn't it make the skeleton stronger? It looked like her mana regeneration was a little less than 1 point per second. This is quite fast as well. Necromancers should be at about 2 points per minute at level 1. My mana pool is so big though still, that's more than 3,000 points an hour. I can just use it all and it will be back way before the testing tonight. She sent more commands to the Holy Skeleton, namely hide in a corner, don't move, be silent, escape if someone finds you. She expected to feel tired from the big mana spending but felt nothing. Maybe the book authors just made up this whole mana exhaustion thing, she thought. Holy Skeleton, reached level 3. It's level 3 now. The description didn't change. I just hope it isn't useless to level it up, or I might as well train with summon blood instead. Sophia struggled a bit to wiggle her foot out of the shackle. She was free to leave the bed now. There really wasn't much to see in the empty room. The windows showed a perfect view of the mountain flank capital down under. The city of Einstein was built on a steep U-shaped mountain flank, making it very safe from invaders. The Holy See was a fort a bit higher on the mountain than everything else, named after the very same Holy See of the church, composed of the oracle and high priests who led the religion. The only building that sat higher up on the mountain was the royal palace on the opposite side. If only she had wings, she could just fly away. Only to be summoned back here, but she didn't have wings anyway. The only thing she could get out of this window was a precipitous drop. Would they just let me kill myself like that? She didn't find any way to open the windows. They didn't even vibrate when she punched them, let alone break. All she did was hurt her hand. She went up to the door. It wasn't locked. Can I just explore the place? Someone opened the door from the other side before she could do it herself. The room felt cold and hostile, but admittedly, the view wasn't all that bad. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 3, Blessing of. Chapter 3, Blessing of. The person who opened the door was a younger girl in a maid outfit. She was probably not even 16, and strode into the room pushing a small cart. The top level had a pitcher of water, an empty cup, and a small loaf of dark bread. The bottom held a tiny chamber pot and a neatly folded white cotton robe. Hello Saintess, these are the supplies for today, as ordered by the magisterium. She bowed, but her face looked uncomfortable. Doesn't look like she likes her job much. My name is Irina. This humble servant will be your personal maid for the whole length of your stay in the church. Hello, Irina. Nice to meet you. I'm Sophia, you can just call me that. Better be friendly, she could be useful down the line. I would be honored, Saintess, but this lowly maid couldn't possibly do so. Alright, I get it. Is this all the food I'm going to get? Yes, Saintess. I must apologize, but nothing can be done about it. It's okay. Anything else I should know? Irina worriedly looked through the door, her shoulders relaxed when she saw no one there. Do not leave this aisle of the building without the magisterium. For your own good. Dutifully follow the orders, and whatever happens, avoid angering the high priests, at all costs. Stepping out of line in their presence is ill-advised, she whispered in a frightened tone. There's only ever one Saintess in the church. If I'm here, then the last one better take her advice seriously. Thank you, Irina, you can leave if you need to, don't get in trouble for me. She left the room without taking the cart. Slowly closing the door after another bow. The bread was rock hard. We ate better in the streets. Sophia was once again alone in her large and empty room. Long days ahead. The white robe was nice, if a bit tight, a simple and elegant design with some lace around the hem. Certainly something Sophia would have expected to see a Saintess wear, without a doubt the most luxurious piece of clothing she had ever touched. Something practical with pants would have been better. Guess they still want me to look the part even if they feed me this crap. She was glad to still have had her underwear under her nightgown when she had gone to sleep because they didn't provide any. With nothing else to do, she decided to follow her original plan to discreetly explore outside her room. The marble room was at the very end of a long corridor. It had 4 doors along the left side, another door at the other end, and the right side was open arches leading to a square cloistered garden. It was all neat and shiny everywhere. The stone walls and marble floors were polished clean, and the garden full of healthy vivid green plants and trees. Sophia counted 4 floors above this one, and that was probably not all of it. The high spire projecting a shadow on the garden wall from a distance had her think the whole place was at least twice as big as this cloister, if not more. It was the Holy See after all, home to the 4 high priests and the famous 200 paladins of the church. It had to still be a lot larger than that to house them all. The spire was probably the oracle's place. The magisterium's quarters are probably very close if it is always the one to take care of the saintesses. Sophia knew she had to silently get rid of the magisterium and flee to another country before anyone noticed if she wanted to get away at all. There was no way to go against all the paladins or the high priests, let alone the oracle who was rumored to be over level 200. But this one beefy old man. As long as he kept being as carefree around her as he had been today, she would find a way. Since there was no one around, she opened the second closest door to her room. It was a small room with a few bookshelves lining the walls. There were probably only around 80 books in here, all lined on the shelf closest to the door. Everything else was empty. A noble's etiquette. 20 keys before attending your first ball. The art of sewing. History of the church. Dukedoms of the Skyreach Kingdom. All latest novels on novelbun.com. Almost all of them were like this. It would have been a hard task to put together a duller collection of books. 3 of them stood out to Sophia, however. On managing your mana. Basics of a healer. Intricacies of summonings. These 3 might hold some useful information, she thought. She would probably end up having to read all the books anyway. She doubted they were here for no reason. She tried to open the next door, but it was locked. She could probably open the lock given the right tools. That was something to keep in mind. The 4th door led her to a room full of buckets, brooms, and other various cleaning supplies. 2 more doors. Don't mind me, just looking around. The guards looked at each other for a second. The one on the left shrugged and threw a card on the table. Your turn, Jeff. Sophia left and closed the door. All I can do is read the books then. Better follow Irina's advice and not wander too far for now. Maybe you'll check the aisle on the other side of the garden tonight. It took her 40 minutes to read the first book on the shelf. It was about the ranks of the court and was utterly boring. The sun was high up in the sky, almost noon. Nobody else came to see her until the sky got dark. She had read 9 more books in the meantime, and she was getting quite hungry. Fast reading, reached level 13. Holy shit, this one was a long time coming. Sophia had found out long ago that she couldn't level up this skill by reading the same books over and over. It had never gone up again after she had read the orphanage's whole library. This was why she had been sending different commands to the skeleton every time, just in case the same one wouldn't grant XP twice. She glanced back at her previous messages. Holy Skeleton, reached level 4. Holy Skeleton, reached level 5. The only difference she could see was the mana cost of orders decreasing by a bit. She had been saving up for the last hour and a half and her mana was capped. Time for a bit more fun then. She had already figured during the day that the skeleton only understood simple orders, but she could send multiple ones to have it do more complex actions. Since she could feel the skeleton's location moving, all she had done was send the commands move in a circle and stop in 10 minutes to see if that was possible and how long orders lasted for. She hadn't found a time limit yet. The skeleton acted as a surprising makeshift clock, though she had no way of verifying if it was actually following any real measure of time. For all she knew, maybe it had just followed what she thought had been around 10 minutes. Holy Skeleton, discreetly venture in the forest, hunt weak monsters, flee if there are humans. Almost half her mana disappeared like that. She could only sit on her bed in the dark and wait. The city outside looked quite lively at night, but no sound reached her room. 3 consecutive ding, asterisk in her mind broke the silence. You have defeated, Wild Hare, LV. 2. The hero, Holy Skeleton gained a level. You gained a level. This is a thing. Wait, no, it's only logical that an undead's kills would grant XP to the Necromancer. The skeleton leveling up was all I expected. This was all big news. A new passive skill is available. A passive at level 2. Wait, is this the Necromancer's, Scent of the Deep, that intimidates monsters and people of a low level? Available passive skills. Deep, the Deep. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I'll take it, I guess. You have acquired the passive, Deep. Let's check that out. Name, Sophia. Age, 19. Class, Saintess. Level, 1 to 2. Health, 5/5 to 10/10. Stamina, 5/5 to 10/10. Mana, 2,892 5,000ths to 2,892 5,500ths. Active skills, 3/5. Holy Skeleton, level 1, LV. 1, to level 5, LV. 2. Heal Undead, level 1. Summon Blood, level 1. Passive skills, 1/5. Blessing of Deep, level 1. Classless skills, 4/6. Menial chores, level 7. Sprint, level 3. Fast reading, level 12 to level 13. Shenanigans, level 48. Summoned heroes, 1/4. LV.2 Holy Skeleton, human. It really fused with the blessing one. She tapped her nails on the bed frame. It was a habit she picked up in her childhood. She did it without noticing whenever she was lost in thoughts. I could have waited for the next passive maybe. But the only other Necromancer passive mentioned in the book was the Aura of Death, at level 80. Blessing of Death. Ill pass, there's probably still more from the missing pages though. Blessing of Deep, the Saintess is blessed by the deep. Nothing new here. Very nice, having a lot of seemingly useless skills, helps a lot in my situation. What is the deep even? The book never mentioned it again. Sophia went to sleep after sending a few more orders to the skeleton. She later woke up to the sound of footsteps behind her. It was still night. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 4, Level Up. Chapter 4, Level Up. It took Sophia a great deal of self-control to fake being asleep. She had no idea who stood behind her bed, but since she was still alive they might not be after her life. Pretending not to notice might just be the safest option. When a cold finger prodded her cheek she could no longer fake it. Leaning over her stood a lanky man in a brown suit, wearing some kind of small flat hat. His face was nothing special but his eyes were pure black. He looked at her with a perfectly blank expression. His whole being unnaturally still, as if frozen in time. Sophia screamed. No sound left her mouth. After locking eyes with the man, she could no longer move at all, no longer breathe, she didn't even feel her heartbeat. The surreal stillness of the scene was interrupted by a ding. The man was no longer anywhere to be seen and the dark room turned bright, bathed in the light of the morning sun. It took Sophia a good minute to calm her wildly beating heart. When she managed to calm down, her nightgown was already sticking to her back, soaked in cold sweat. Congratulations, you have received a new name. She couldn't decide what shocked her more between the strange encounter and the system message. Her name had indeed changed in her status page, where it used to just be Sophia. It now read, Sophia Afanorith. Having your name be changed when you got married or adopted was a common thing. Did she just get adopted by some weird man? Her best guess was that either the man was the seldom-seen oracle of the church playing a weird prank on her, or it had a link to her, Blessing of the Deep. If it's neither, then I have no idea. Just what was that for? Can't you ask before you change someone's name? What's Afanorith? Are weird things just going to keep happening to me? If I had known all of this crap would happen, I would have stuck with the full class you get with level 50 shenanigans. Wait, since the Sun class was halved, is the restriction of being stuck with it the same? The Saint class cannot be changed. Was worth a try. Maybe I can change the Necromancer part. I'd rather keep it at this point. A single skeleton is better than no skeletons. Oh, the Magisterium's coming. As announced by the heavy steps, the tall armored man opened the door. Get dressed and come out. Fast, he said in an utterly bored tone. Yes, hello to you too, a pleasure to see you again. She still had to obey, and she hoped to get some food soon. The old man led her through the previously locked door at the end of the aisle, which led to another corridor much like the previous one, but with rooms on both sides. From what she glimpsed through open doors, it seemed that part of the fort was mostly for storage. Old books, furniture, barrels of grain, bedsheets, just a whole bunch of storerooms. They passed a corridor going far to the right. That looks like a corridor going through the whole width of the fort. The man kept walking straight, through another door and into a large kitchen area. Tens of cooks were hard at work already, not paying him any attention. The room was very hot from the numerous stoves. They stopped at a heavy wooden door in a corner of the kitchens. The Magisterium took out a large key from the collar of his armor and unlocked the door. Behind it was a set of coiling stone stairs going down. Go in. Don't come back until you're level 20. He closed the door behind her. I don't like where this is going. Am I about to fight for my life in some underground crypt? The steep stairs were dusty, only finger-sized slits in some parts of the staircase walls let some light pierce through from outside. It kept going down for a while. After a bit, Sophia began to hear wet sloshing noises coming from inside the walls. They only got louder and louder the further down she went. What is this place? The stairs led to a small square room, similarly lit by a single small hole in the wall letting in a faint ray of sunlight. The first thing that caught her attention was a small hatch containing a platter of food. It was some water, a yellow apple, and a bowl of cold soup. She observed the rest of the room while eating. You can get to level 20 in this room? One had to know that level 20 was already quite something. The only way to gain levels was to kill animals or people stronger than you. No matter how you looked at it, it wasn't something many humans were willing to do. The risks were just too high. Most villagers Sophia knew were in the tens, only slowly accumulating experience when they killed farm animals for food. There was a level 50 hunter in Verena, that was as high as the wildlife around there could get him, he had told the curious orphans. Having a somewhat high level wasn't all that great anyway, especially if you were stuck with a bad class like villager, farmer or baker. People weren't all that keen on risking their lives to make slightly better tasting bread. Now if you could make it to level 100, there were apparently some incredible benefits, and a lot of money to be made, but how dangerous would it be to get there? The highest level people around in villages were usually hunters and guards. The other features in the room beside the hatch were a tall basket holding a bunch of long wooden spikes, a lever, and a fist-sized round hole at shoulder height in the wall near the lever. There was no light to see what was beyond the hole. She took a spike and prodded inside the hole. Looks like it's just a small empty space in the wall. Let's give that lever a go. The lever was surprisingly hard to pull down. It went back up right after. With it came metallic sounds of things opening and closing. A wet thing fell behind the hole. She stuck the spike in the hole once more. It feels like it's touching a sack full of water. A weak push was all it took to pierce the thing. Nothing really happened. She kept stabbing a few times. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 13. You gained a level. You gained a level. You gained a level. Just like that. She couldn't keep her voice down. That's surreal, no way, you can do it like that. I understand how all the noble kids are at such a high level now. I almost feel bad for the slimes. Alright, if they want to give me the opportunity to get stronger, I'm not going to say no. She pulled on the lever again. And again. And again. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 16. You gained a level. You gained a level. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 3. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 7. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 8. You gained a level. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 23. Read new chapters on no.v.e.l.b.in.com. You gained a level. You gained a level. New active skills are available. Available active skills. Dispel, dispels. Bolt, projectile from the hand. I don't think they go together very well. I'll wait on these. The dispel part is interesting, but since every Saintess has that, this probably won't be my ticket out of here. I wonder what the original skill was. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 2. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV.6. You have defeated Composter Slime, LV. 5. The levels started coming slower and slower. Most of the slimes were under level 10 and likely didn't give much experience. The highest level slimes that fell behind the Hole of Death were level 25, but they were quite rare. After doing this all day, Sophia's arms were too tired to continue. When the last level up message she had been waiting for showed up, it was time to stop. She observed her log. The mana spent in the Holy Skeleton skill all day long wasn't wasted. You gained a level. You gained a level. You gained a level. Holy Skeleton reached level 6. You gained a level. 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 Holy Skeleton reached level 7. You gained a level. New active skills are available. You gained a level. You gained a level. Holy Skeleton reached level 8. You gained a level. Wouldn't life in villages be 1,000 times safer if everyone could just get to level 20 like that? I don't think I can get any higher here. There's too few high-level slimes. This was quite good already. Let's have a look at the new skills. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 5, Maiden Bolt. Chapter 5, Maiden Bolt. Available active skills. Dispel, dispels. Bolt, projectile from the hand. Maiden, invoke the power of a maiden. Mist, in a thick mist. All my skills are going to be like this, aren't they? I'm already feeling the headache. Maiden feels like I could use it to summon something with the right combination. What can I do though? A maiden zombie? Not sure I want that in my team, honestly. Also, what the hell would Maiden Bolt even do? I need to be really careful how I deal with this. Dispel Bolt might be interesting if I need to go against a mage, as long as they throw projectiles with their hands. I don't think it would work on physical throwing weapons. Unless it's crossbow bolts. I can't see it being worth a slot. Dispel Mist is a hit or miss. The syntax of the description would be a bit weird. If it creates a mist that dispels everything it touches, it's absolutely insane. If it only dispels mists, it's the worst skill I've ever heard of. It could also be dispel anything as long as it's cast from within mist. Either way, I can't risk wasting such a valuable keyword. I'll wait for a dispel magic or any safer sounding combination, really. Maiden, can't do anything with that right now. Unless I want to lure old men in a maiden mist. Hard to imagine what that would end up being. Maybe the skill just wouldn't do anything at all. Guess I'll be keeping all of these for later. My skills didn't really go up besides Holy Skeleton reaching level 8. But I gained a lot of stats. Name, Sophia Afanorith. Class, Saintmancer. Level, 2 to 23. Health, 10/10 to 115 115ths. Stamina, 10/10 to 3 115ths. Mana, 2,892 5,500ths to 358 16,000ths. I'm not so sure, but I think that's an insane amount of mana I have. The regeneration speed also shot up to about 3 mana points per second. If I remember correctly, paladins have 1,000 health at level 20 while my body is weak. The mana makes up for it, I guess, but unless I want to flood a room with blood, I can't really make use of it right now. Wait, am I dumb? I can level up my skills so fast with this. Did I break the system? Well yeah, I definitely did. My class doesn't even exist. Being a captive here isn't so bad for now. When I'm strong enough, how can they stop me from leaving? Maybe I shouldn't get excited. I'll still die from a single stab. It was night already when she came up from the slime room. She had been killing them in the dark for a few minutes at the end. Thankfully the door wasn't locked. It revealed the empty and dark kitchens, some rare rays of moonlight surging between the curtains. Time for a free meal. She couldn't discreetly make a real meal, but it shouldn't be too hard to steal some bread and vegetables, she thought. She also ordered her holy skeleton to go back to hunting as it was safe now. She made a quick meal of white bread, cheese and carrots she pilfered in the cupboards. I get that they can summon me back here whenever they want, but I still think it's weird how lax they're on guard duty. Just how bad are the Saintess class skills? She considered stealing a knife, but that felt like it probably wouldn't really help. If they find it, they'll just think him up to some bad stuff. Better let them think him resigned to obediently staying here. What could a knife even do? Since the Magisterium was her only target, and there was no way the guy couldn't survive a sneaky knife stab, if she even managed to deal one. His class has to be at least as strong as a paladin, and H is at least level 50 since he can get all the Saintesses there. I have no idea how to go about this. If I cut off his head, he'll die no matter how many health points he has left, right? She had to be ready to dispose of him if an opportunity presented itself, but she also had to be able to escape the place without anyone noticing afterwards, or she could never outrun the church's forces. Even then, she would have to be very careful about hiding while she was still in the kingdom. If this isn't a perfect time to explore a bit, I don't know what is. She first checked the kitchen's third and fourth door. One was for a cold room with tons of meat hanging on hooks. The other led to a big banquet hall. I'll save this way for later. She went back to the previous corridor and explored the many storerooms one by one. There wasn't anything useful she could hide on her or in her bed, but she made note of some items that might help in her later escape. The only room left unaccounted for was the one full of books, as it was too dark to read the titles. She was going to go back to the cloister part of the fort when she heard it. A rat. It came from the room with the grain. She closed the grain storage room's door, hopefully locking the rodent inside. She had previously left it open because it was open in the first place. Sophia walked back to the kitchen. She looked at the knives first, but ended up rushing down the stairs to the slime room instead. Almost tripping in the lightless spiral staircase, she then felt her way around the slime room, searching for the basket. She grabbed a sturdy unused wooden pike from the back of the lot. It wouldn't be easy to corner the rat in the room full of barrels, especially with the low light. It was good that the room had at least a tiny barred window. She grabbed a handful of grain from a barrel, closed it back up, and set it down on the floor in a corner. After that, it was a waiting game. She had closed the door to make sure the rodent wouldn't leave the room, but she was still worried it had another way out. A good 20 minutes later, the rat finally noticed the unprotected food. She patiently observed, immobile, as he was feeding. When it looked like it had let down its guard to eat, stuffing its mouth with the wheat, she attacked. She mustered all of her remaining strength, trying to be quick to kill the animal before it noticed her. Once it was alarmed and felt unsafe, it wouldn't be possible to corner it again. She clenched her muscles, and extended her weapon forward. It was a shoddy-looking stab. It didn't even go where she had aimed. But the rat, having felt it coming, dodged, running for the safety of the barrels, only to find the pike still coming for its body. It was through sheer luck that what could only be a miss ended up being a perfect hit. You have defeated, Rat, LV. 1. She was careful to clean up the scene as much as she could, and returned the pike to the slime room. Her legs hurt like hell from all the running around. Her stamina had been showing a clean 0 for a while now. One could still move without stamina, but they would get weaker and weaker and eventually faint. New stories at novel.com. Her night wasn't over yet. In the kitchen, she butchered the rat. It wasn't a clean job, rat blood and guts spilling everywhere. The taps used water magic to produce water, so she still managed to clean everything up in the end. She had almost puked many times during the whole process, barely holding on. The dirty rag she had used to wipe the blood and hold the meat and guts ended up in the hatch label composter chute. Hopefully no one would notice it was missing. She ended up stealing another one to hold the rat bones, and a sturdy-looking small knife. The rat skeleton had some broken and missing pieces by the end, but it would have to do. She felt really faint after all this. Snatching some dried meat to eat on the way, she trudged back to her bed. It was a good thing there was nobody out in the corridors at this hour. The guards were clearly awake in the room next to hers. They made a lot of noise and didn't seem to care about her at all. After hiding the things under the mattress, she didn't need long to fall asleep. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 6, Rat. Chapter 6, Rat. How are the heroes doing? Scythe and Jason are still holding the front lines, Your Majesty. Izuka should still be dealing with the salamander situation up north. She is scheduled to come back in 3 months. What about the 3 from the last batch? Another dud, Your Majesty. Minato showed great potential, but he was caught by the Empire's Inquisitors. We quietly disposed of the other 2. They were utterly inadequate. Sigh asterisk what is the church doing, sending us these clowns again and again. Sophia woke up to the same boring marble room. You have defeated, Forest Slime, LV. 2. You have defeated, Vampire Bat, LV. 4. The hero, Holy Skeleton gained a level. You have defeated, Starved Wolf, LV. 5. You have defeated, Wild Hare, LV. 1. You have defeated, Wild Hare, LV. 5. The hero, Holy Skeleton gained a level. You have defeated, Wild Hare, LV. 6. You have defeated, Wild Hare, LV. 6. You have defeated, Wild Hare, LV. 2. The hero, Holy Skeleton gained a level. The faraway skeleton had done some quality hunting during the night, going up to level 5. The shared experience wasn't enough to get me to level up, it probably barely made a dent. Her idea of using the skeleton to speed up her leveling while she was stuck here wasn't looking very promising. She tried to leave but to her surprise her door was locked. Did they find out about yesterday? She checked and the rat skeleton and knife were still there. She let herself fall on her bed. It was still the only piece of furniture in the large room. It would be nice if I could get a bath. She had to sweat a lot to get her levels the previous day and felt unclean. Her mana was full so she spent it all. Holy Skeleton, reached level 9. Holy Skeleton, reached level 10. Holy Skeleton, reached level 11. Having that much mana really is cheating. I need to find a way to make it regenerate even faster. Sophia had nothing to do in the empty closed room. She observed the city below through the large windows. It was too far down to really watch anything interesting happen, but she took the time to familiarize herself with the city layout. About 2 hours later something unexpected happened. Fast reading, reached level 14. NEW novel chapters are published on No, Vel, Bin, Copa Meter. What? Reading the city layout? Is this what it is? I was stuck at level 12 for so long and I could have just leveled it up by staring at things for long enough. Is my class broken or is the whole system broken? Her memorization of the city design got noticeably faster after the level up, but she got bored at some point and just went back to bed for a nap. Saintess, are you alright? Ah. Irina? Yeah, I'm just sleeping. Oh, alright then. I left the food for today here. The Magisterium cannot be here today, so he sent me to inform the Saintess that the bathroom was unlocked and that she had to start reading the books. H is referring to the second and third rooms on the left. She says, pointing at the corridor behind. Enjoy your day off, Saintess. There might not be many more. You sure know how to lift the mood, don't you? The maid froze for a second. I'm sorry she continued in a softer tone. Don't worry, I'm not mad, I know I'm a captive here, it's okay. I am going back to work, stay safe, Saintess. Irina left in a hurry. The food in question was the same apple and soup she had gotten the day before, with an added loaf of rock-hard dark bread. She still ate all of it. The next step was checking out the so-called bathroom. Sophia came out of there more than an hour later, cleaned and with a new robe. They had even provided a gold headband engraved with weird sigils. It had quite some weight on her head, despite being very thin. Was this one of the rumored magic items providing various bonuses? She was shocked to have been handed something that valuable just like that. Even if it turned out it wasn't magic in the end, it was still fully gold. It felt weird walking with more money on her head than she had ever owned before. They must be very, very confident that I can't even try to escape. I'll show them. They've never seen a Saintess quite like me. She spent the rest of the day reading through the books in the other room. The guards checked on her once, they even talked a bit. The duo was named Jeff and Yannick, both level 60 warriors. They said they didn't have to do anything as long as she didn't try anything funny or left the cloister without the Magisterium. If anything, they seemed quite sympathetic with her situation. Also, another duo swapped with them every night. Holy Skeleton, reached level 12. Holy Skeleton, reached level 13. She left her room late at night. As she was coming out of the books room, one of the other duo of guards came out to see what she was doing. This one was kinda short and he looked bored out of his mind. Hey, what are you doing out of your room this late? I just wanted to read a book under the moonlight. She held up the book she had just taken. I can't sleep. Just don't leave the cloister. The man sighed like this was the worst day of his life, and returned to the guard post. Alright, now to find a suitable spot. It took her some time, but she found a nice place with large and flat stacked rocks, out of view from the guard's door. A perfect moonlit place for reading. She carefully took out the knife from between her breasts, the blade was rolled and some cut cloth. She moved the first rock of the pile away, and got to work carving on the second one. She had drawn the necromantic skeleton circle many times before getting it correct in the crypt. She could almost do it with her eyes closed now, especially one as small as the one she needed. The only hard part was not making excessive noise. The stone was quite brittle, which helped a lot. By the end, the knife's point was ruined, but the circle was complete. She retrieved the rat skeleton in the folded rag she had tied to her ankle. It was quite tight to lessen the noise it would make, and she struggled for a while to undo her own knot. I should have just cut it open. She would have to cut herself open next anyway. She frowned. Can I not just summon blood? Does it have to be mine? Summon blood, reached level 2. As the blood filled the carved circle, the rat skeleton slowly reassembled and came to life. Error. Again? User cannot summon the same hero twice, please choose one. Holy skeleton, human, holy skeleton, rat. That's just it. No half-thing bullshit. No admin call. Alright, I can deal with just this. Goodbye old skeleton, I guess, you're just too far away. You summoned the hero, holy skeleton, rat, LV. 5. It even kept the levels of the other skeleton. The small rat skeleton stood still, awaiting his orders, his eyes emitting a soft golden light, a small, round but spiked halo of yellow light hovering, crooked, over his skull. Her first command was to hide the lights. How could he do his job of being discreet if he was a walking light show? To her relief, it could actually be turned off. But she felt the rat getting significantly weaker without it. She hit the circle by replacing the first rock on top of it, left the skeleton there and went back to her room. Her orders were to explore all unguarded places, as discreetly as possible. She established signals like stop moving for a second or immediately retreat, then do a circle to know what exactly it encountered. Since it was still close to her, she could very precisely sense its position and movements. She restricted the rat to the first 2 floors. Higher up was dangerous, she assumed the thing would absolutely get caught if it went near a high priest, and she thought they had to be up there in the highest floors. People in power always love to live high up. By morning, she would have mapped the entirety of the Holy Sea's lower levels. It was good that she had napped for so long. She wouldn't be getting a lot of sleep tonight. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 7, Sensitive Nose. Chapter 7, Sensitive Nose. Holy skeleton, reached level 14. Holy skeleton, reached level 15. Shenanigans, reached level 49. Nobody found the rat. As it turned out, the place was even larger than Sophia had thought, it was worthy of being called a fortress. The cloister where she was ended up being quite close to the entrance, it seemed more like an afterthought in the whole design than a place made specially for the Saintesses. There were low levels but they were devoid of any human presence, so likely no jail cells in there, weirdly enough. Maybe that was the only reason she wasn't in one. These underground levels weren't fully mapped out, there had to be something dangerous in there as the rat had retreated early, but it wasn't a human. The doors on the other side when you crossed the garden led to what was probably the maids' and workers' quarters on one side, seeing how everyone slept in communal rooms, and to the paladins' quarters on the other, where they had individual rooms. She couldn't tell what was in the other rooms as the rat didn't report any people in there. But it had told her where guards were posted, and it had found 2 exits. One was likely the main entrance, near the banquet hall she had seen before. It was guarded by at least 8 people. The other exit was a bit weirder, somewhere far away in the second floor, she had no clue what it could be. The second floor had very few people in it, barely a few duos here and there, probably guards, it was surely more lively during the day. She could already see ways she could reach that second exit at night if she was good with her timings around the patrolling guards, but it was a gamble since she didn't know what the rat had considered an exit. Maybe she would even fit through, maybe it led to a cliffside, even then she still felt she had better odds there than with the front door. Going to the second floor in the first place was a bit tricky, the stairs from the main entrance hall led directly to the third floor so they weren't an option. The only ways to the second floor were 2 sets of stairs, one in the center of the workers' aisle and one at the end of the paladins' corridors. There had to be a staircase leading up the oracle's tower somewhere that had access to all floors, but the skeleton hadn't found it, maybe it was behind locked doors. There were quite a few places the rat couldn't enter. The next morning, she was drinking her daily bowl of soup without enthusiasm when a tall man in armor entered her room, Magisterium Ovohin. You're wearing the saint's headband, you really reached level 20 then. Good. Follow me. The man didn't even wait for an answer, he just turned around and left. Does wearing this thing mean I'm level 20? There's a level restriction or something like that. It's really a magic item then. Sophia gulped down the rest of the food while leaving her room. The man marched straight down the same way leading to the kitchen, but entered the long corridor going to the right midway. They passed a few paladins walking around. Everyone stopped to greet the man when they saw him. If her understanding of the layout of this place was correct, they had passed under the main entrance's stairway to the third floor. At the far end of this corridor was the entrance to the lower levels. They went through the open passage at the end, the door was made of iron bars that could be lowered with a lever system from the corridor's side. 2 paladins were guarding the doorway from the inside, facing the light incline going down. They're here to keep things from coming out. They wore golden plate armor akin to the magisterium's but much less ornate. It was a mystery how the rat managed to go in and out the previous night without getting caught by the paladins. You have entered the dungeon, Abyss of the Damned, LV. 100+. A dungeon right here in the capital. I get why the church built the fort here. They can just train all of their paladins here. The damned if it ends up being full of undead weak to the holy, it's a walk in the park for a paladin to level up here. That might also be an opportunity for me and a Necromancer, right? There's no way I don't find a way to make use of a place full of undead. Please let my next spells be good. The duo entered what looked like an abandoned underground prison. The cell bars were rusty and broken, the whole place was littered with stone and metal debris, and thick dust permeated the air. The only light came from the Magisterium's longsword he had unsheathed. It was glowing with a light blue hue. Find new chapters on Nove, LB.com. Stay behind me. He tossed a sheathed dagger to Sophia. Use this to finish off the zombies. Any questions? Wouldn't I get more experience if I was alone? She was actually curious as to why you would personally help her to level up. Couldn't he send just any other paladin? Oh, you would, if you didn't end up dead. He started to walk slowly, checking inside every cell. Killing just 2 or 3 undead here might even be enough to get you to level 50 like that. There's no way you'd be able to take out even one. Not before you're level 90. But you won't ever get there. They kept walking in silence for a while. Don't you feel bad locking people like me in here? Leveling up a Saintess until Shush is thrown out for the next one. It was something she had wondered about since coming here. The fate of the Saintesses was all on that guy's shoulders it seemed, but despite the weird treatment she got, and being kidnapped, she was still treated rather well for a prisoner. She had seen the orphanage's director get violent multiple times and she had feared the same thing would happen to her here. The man stopped. It is the will of God. I interpreted His Holiness the Oracle's words myself, the Magisterium said in a somber tone. So he doesn't really like it, but it is following the will of God. You're not making the task of getting rid of you any easier, old man. ... Your God sure is weird if this is how he wants the saints he chooses to end up. Young girl, you cannot perceive God's great designs. Nor can we. As such we need to diligently follow his guidance, for he will guide us to a greater realm. He got a bit zealous by the end, but quickly regained his composure. Now quiet down and focus on your task, we are merely following God's plan. Sure, thanks for the preaching. Where do I sign up to leave? They kept advancing through the empty prison pathways. The white robe Sophia was wearing was already a bit grey from all the dust in the air. Sophia was bored out of her mind. She kept sending the rat skeleton useless commands to level up her skill. Spending mana was slow since the skeleton was near. Isn't it dumb that leveling the skill is easier the further you are from the summon? My skills really don't make any sense. Holy skeleton, reached level 16. She still kept half her mana available just in case something went wrong. The zombies finally showed themselves a good hour of walking later. It didn't take Owen long to take care of the 12-strong group of zombies roaming the corridor. Holy fuck, they stink. I'm happy I don't even have the raise undead skill. I'm never making a single skill with zombies. Skeletons are great, they don't smell like ass and they don't make dumb noises. Regular necromancers use these all the time. No wonder they have a bad reputation. I also wouldn't associate with someone that reeks like that. She went on an internal rant about undead hygiene while the Magisterium seemingly danced with his sword through the group of undead, leaving behind a bunch of limbless zombies lying on the ground, unable to move. Even with the things in that state, she had a hard time coming close to finish him off. In the end, she still did, making sure to hold her breath for as long as she could. The dagger glittered with holy light when she took it out. Another magic item. She plunged it in the first zombie's head. It didn't die. She had to stab it 8 times before a system message popped up. Your party has defeated Sinner Zombie, LV. 112. She expected a level up message. It never came. Wow, the shared experience isn't so good. I was worried I would reach 50 faster than I could find a way to get out, but it seems that won't be the case. Your party has defeated Sinner Zombie, LV. 125. Your party has defeated Sinner Zombie, LV. 98. Your party has defeated Sinner Zombie, LV. 79. The further they went, the larger the hordes of zombies became, but the Magisterium wasn't even touched once. They were in there for 10 hours straight before he had to carry her back when she fainted from exhaustion. This wasn't all for nothing, however. You gained a level. You gained a level. Holy skeleton, reached level 17. You gained a level. You gained a level. You gained a level. You gained a level. Holy skeleton, reached level 18. You gained a level. New passive skills are available. You gained a level. I had never met such a vile creature, even from afar. The wet gargling sounds that it produced echoing through the vast tunnels made my stomach churn. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 8, Passively Useless. Chapter 8, Passively Useless. Sophia woke up in the deep of night, still fully clothed on her bed. She looked at her available skills. Available passive skills. Pristine, your soul is in. Of bones, against physical projectiles. Of course the descriptions don't help, and they don't go well together. Pristine of bones. Ah yes, everyone needs clean bones, don't they? If it was a skill I can give to my skeleton maybe it would be interesting, but why do I care about my bones? Talk about a passive skill, it would passively do fuck all, wouldn't it? Even if I mash the description together, then what? Defend my soul against physical projectiles. As if that was needed. How can I do anything like this? I don't even know how half my skills work exactly. Where do I file a complaint? Error. I feel like I might have thought something I shouldn't have. SDS discrepancy detected. SDS. Admin action required. Available admins, 0. This again. What's an admin even? At this rate won't my class change to system error at some point? Initiating emergency recovery. Please wait. Following procedure 0675, assigning tier 2 scribe. Error fixed. Thank you for your patience. Fixed. Scribe. She looked through her status, but nothing was different from before she fainted the previous day. The system fixed what? The useless descriptions. She checked the skill with the weirdest description previously. Summon blood. Summons liquid human blood anywhere in a 2 meters, 1 asterisk skill level, radius from the Saintess, must be free space. The quantity of blood summoned this way is 1 asterisk skill level asterisk mana spent, milliliters. That's a lot of new information. Did I just win the jackpot by complaining? The system had a function like that? Also, this clearly means it knows my class is weird and it didn't do anything about it. Good. Wouldn't want it to only realize what it's done later and try to erase it or something. She took a few seconds to process the math. So I can summon 40 liters of blood right now? Is that a lot? It kinda feels like a whole lot but also not enough to really do anything. She checked her other skills. The classless skills hadn't changed at all, but everything else did. Holy Skeleton allows the Necromancer to control a ritually created holy skeleton wielding the holy light of gods. The holy skeleton will keep experience when switching bones. Physical and magical capabilities are influenced by the current bones. LV.1. The Necromancer always knows where their holy skeleton is. LV.10. The holy skeleton boasts a glorious halo, empowering holy-related skills. Next function unlocks at skill level 20. This is my main skill for now. I like that it can evolve more. I need to level it up faster. Now how can I find a good strong skeleton in the fort, do a ritual large enough for it, hide it afterwards? This is going to be hard. The host must mean the current skeleton. I can't really expect to get out of here alive with just a holy rat, no? Also, this pretty much confirms that I can only have one. Heal undead, invokes a pillar of holy healing light. Only heals the undead. Max range of 1 meter, 1 asterisk skill level. Heal the undead for 11, 10 plus skill level, health per second while the light is channeled. The light pillar's upkeep is 100 asterisk pillars meters width, mana per second. Does not work in restricted spaces. Not in restricted spaces? So basically not indoors? She thought the limitation made the skill quite bad, not even mentioning how visible a pillar of light coming down from the sky would be. Doesn't this skill just tell everyone my exact location? It's so bad, but since I can only have 4 summons, healing him is an obligation. Unless one of them ends up being a healer. I'll think about it, but I can't use it at all until I'm out of the country and able to defend myself. I'll try to make a better healing spell if I can. Blessing of the Deep, the Necromancer was granted a name. They may see the inhabitants of the deep. LV.1, the Necromancer and their summons are immune to the mind control, hypnosis, confusion, insanity, and instant death status effects. Next function unlocks at skill level 200. So the whole name thing really came from there. Still no idea what the deep is supposed to be. The effects are yeah, this is very good I think. Won't help me get out of here but, sure, I'll take all of that. Sophia was a bit shaky, she had a tremor just from reading the skills description. There's skills like, instant death, out there in the wild. She recalled the grimoire and the few necromancer spells mentioned in it. Death, the only one it had was, aura of death, but that's a passive skill. Maybe it'll be the one dishing out instant death someday. If the Saintess class spells allow for that. Oh, but I could make pristine death as a passive. Not quite sure I want that. Can my own skill kill me? It'd probably be the first idiot in the history of the whole world to be killed by learning a skill. Wait, no, I'm immune to instant death, so maybe I can still try it out. I don't know about the other skills, but I'm never replacing this one for sure. Overall, whatever the tier 2 scribe was, it sure did a good job. Sophia was quite curious about the scribe, but she wouldn't ask anyone about it. Talking about the inner workings of the system was a great taboo, saying too much in public was usually the last thing you would be able to say. Even books always avoided the subject. The only part of the system that was public knowledge was the very basics of getting a class and leveling up. It was clear that someone or something was actively preventing any advanced information from spreading. Was this scribe even a living being? She giggled on her bed as she imagined some scrawny guy in a cramped room full of documents, looking through her broken skills, wondering how he could fix them up to make sense. Keep up the good work, buddy. Can I get more goodies if I can play more? Maybe it was for the best that she didn't push her luck further. Her mana had fully refilled while she was out. She spent the next hour trying to give increasingly complex command chains to the rat. Holy Skeleton, reached level 19. Holy Skeleton, reached level 20. She only had 400 mana left by the time it reached level 20. Let's check out the new function. Please be good. Holy Skeleton, allows the Saintesser to control a ritually created holy skeleton wielding the holy light of gods. The holy skeleton will keep experience when switching host bones. Physical and magical capabilities are influenced by the current bones. LV.1, the Saintesser always knows where their holy skeleton is. LV.10, the holy skeleton boasts a glorious halo, empowering holy-related skills. LV.20, the holy skeleton can create and wield a sword of holy light. Proficiency depends on the host bones. Next function unlocks at skill level 30. She was quite pleased with that. It was very funny observing the rat on his hind legs, trying to use a tiny sword of light. It looked like the skill would keep evolving every 10 levels, all of her mana would go there as much as she could. Irina came early in the morning pushing in a cart loaded with food and new clothes. Jeff and Yannick, the guards, followed behind her, carrying a small wooden cabinet and a fancy carpet. Ovohan must have been pleased with my performance. I am very interested in leveling up for sure. Although I maybe should try to slow it down a bit. When I hit 50 as my deadline cause, there's no way I can summon any dumb hero for them with my skills. Not one that's alive at least. Today and tomorrow were days off. The Magisterium had many things to attend to. It was time to start putting in some serious work to get out of this dump. Holy Skeleton, reached level 21. Holy Skeleton, reached level 26. Fast Reading, reached level 15. Fast Reading, reached level 17. The hero, Holy Skeleton, gained a level. * 19. Shenanigans, reached level 50. Follow the latest novels on no-velben.com. A new evolution choice was unlocked for the skill, Shenanigans. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 9, Tomfoolery. Chapter 9, Tomfoolery. Shenanigans, is at 50 and I don't even get a prompt for the full class can't ever change out of Saintesser. And I can get an evolution. New N0vel chapters are published on N0V, E, LB, I, N, Copa Meter. Available evolutions for Shenanigans, LV.50, all levels will be lost. Shenanigans 2, Analytical Thinking is 53%, 3 * skill level plus 50, more efficient when used for personal gain. Way of the Full, Analytical Thinking is 51%, 1 * skill level plus 50, more efficient when used for personal gain. The Full always stumbles but never falls. Gain extra experience from performing kills with trickery and deceit. Shenanigans I can go all the way up to 200%, that's enticing but getting bonus experience. There's even options like this. I'm not one to pass up on free XP. Your passive, Shenanigans, LV.50 has evolved to Way of the Full, LV.1 feet. Sophia was curious about the stumbling part. She didn't believe the scribe would add useless text. She stood on the edge of her bed. She took 2 steps on the thin railing but soon lost her balance. It took her a few seconds of flailing her arms, but eventually she got back upright. No matter how many times she tried this, she really didn't fall. She only managed to fall when she really tried to counteract the skill, face planting on the bed. In the meantime, the rat was stealthily coming back from the slime room. She had it level up there until it reached level 24. Nothing wasted. The new ability to not fall was interesting. She wondered if everyone had passives like these or if this was really unusual. If only I could find the church's library. Her thoughts were interrupted by someone knocking on the window. Which surprised Sophia, considering that the window was overlooking a straight drop of several hundred meters. But the small man just stood right outside as if there was solid ground there and waved at her. Sophia tried her best not to appear too shocked, but what her instincts told her next made it hard to keep a straight face. Much like she could feel her skeleton status, she knew who this was just by looking. Hero, LV. 243. She blinked and the man previously standing outside was now inside, dusting his clothes. He was dressed fully in a tight-fitting black outfit of soft fabric. Not a glimpse of skin could be seen apart from his face, which was probably usually covered by the horned white mask currently dangling from his belt. He looked to be around 25 or 30 and looked quite manly despite his smaller stature. Maybe it was the short black beard that helped. Hey there, I'm Michael, but everyone calls me Mike. You the new Saint? He said in a friendly tone. Is this guy here to kill me? She considered fleeing, but the man could just teleport it seemed, and she was still sitting on the bed. Seeing her hesitate, the man just kept talking. Don't worry missy, I'm less dangerous to you than these guys in the church are. Sophia. Why are you here? Are you not worried the guards will come? Oh, no one here could hurt me if they tried, but I'm not looking to start diplomatic incidents, I'm just having some fun on my break. You're a summoned hero, right? So you're really the new Saintess. Damn right I'm a summoned hero, and let me tell you, the bread in my world tasted much better than the hard crap you eat here. How can a whole continent fail so hard at something so simple? The man was really angry that he couldn't find good bread. He started ranting about yeast and baking before reining himself back to the initial topic. Anyway, Sophia, how's life in Skyreach's church treating you? Look at the room. I have a bed and a carpet. Isn't this the height of prisoner luxury? I've known worse. She sarcastically gestured, presenting the mostly empty marble room as a grandiose palace. Yeah, The last one here wasn't a fan either. Do you just stalk Saintesses for a living? Hey, what would you do in my place if any random asshole could just kidnap someone from your world whenever they please because some god decided so? I'm just keeping track of who's who. In case cleanup is needed. Less dangerous, I get the point. I'm not planning on summoning anyone ever, if that's what you're worried about. The guy raised an eyebrow. He slowly walked closer. The church ain't going to like that, missy. I don't suppose you'd help me escape from them? And risk worsening the war? The oracle can kill me, but H is a tough nut to crack. I tell you, he won't just stand still if I start slapping his magisterium around. The room fell silent for a few seconds. But you know what, I'll tell you something. The old paladin had to split his skills between the saint-related stuff, paladin skills and combat skills. H is very limited when it comes to other areas such as, surviving poison, things like that. The other paladins aren't such easy targets. But he can kill you in a single slap, so be careful, yeah. It'd be nice if next time I come I don't find yet another girl in your place. She was still processing what he said when Michael looked outside and pouted. I have to go, nice to meet you, Saintess, take care. He said, waving with both hands, his body gradually disappearing in thick clouds of grey smoke. I get why the church really wants to summon these heroes now, level 243. That's probably even higher than the king. Also he had at least 2 different teleportation skills. Scary. She slumped on her bed, waiting for her heart rate to go back down. New classless skill available. Oh. Now that's something I like to hear. This place is like a goldmine for getting stronger. Available classless skill. Poker face. Keeping a straight face in all situations is 2%, 2* skill level, easier. What's poker? Anyway, sure, why not? Won't change my life but it can help. I only have 1 free classless slot now. What Michael had said about Ovohan's weakness was good food for thoughts. Poisoning the guy wasn't really an option. Where would she find poison anyway? But during the next outings in the dungeon, she observed the man with great care. A week later, when Sophia got her skills for level 40, a real plan started taking form. It was risky, but what wouldn't be? The time before she hit level 50 was only 2 more weeks at most. She would exploit her jailer for all his worth in the meantime. The old magisterium wasn't exactly the worst person she had ever met, admittedly, but his faith was so deeply rooted that it took over his free will. She wouldn't show any mercy to the one trapping her here. The marble cell gradually got more comfortable, a reward for her good efforts, but being stuck here got increasingly more boring every day ever since she had read all the books the church had given her access to. Michael never came back, and besides Irina a few minutes every day, she didn't really have anyone to talk with. There had been attempts to walk around a bit more, but the guards wouldn't allow her out of the cloister without Ovohan present. She had been here for almost a month. The heavy footsteps of the magisterium echoed on the polished tiles outside her room. Today was the day. She took a last glance at her status. Name, Sophia Afanorith. Age, 19. Class, Saintmancer. Level, 49. Health, 245 245. Stamina, 245 245. Mana, 29,000 and 29,000. Active skills, 4/5. Holy Skeleton, level 40, LV. 24. Heal Undead, level 1. Summon Blood, level 2. Lead the Dead, level 13. Passive skills, 1/5. Blessing of the Deep, level 1. Classless skills, 5/6. Menial Chores, level 7. Sprint, level 3. Fast Reading, level 19. Way of the Full, level 2. Poker Face, level 3. Summoned Heroes, 1/4. LV.24 Holy Skeleton, Rat. If everything went well, tomorrow, she would be free. Saintess summons skeletons. Chapter 10, On Edge. Chapter 10, On Edge. It was an overcast morning. Sophia walked behind the old paladin through the dim corridors of the Holy See. Her skeleton rat was already hiding in the room right next to the dungeon entrance. They had provided her with clothes more fitted for long walks after she had asked them. It was still all white, but walking in the dungeon was easier without a robe, and escaping would be too. She thought the white tunic and pants made her look like some of those prideful noble youths that would sometimes go through the village, sitting in their carriages, rousing the envy of every orphan. She did her best to stay as calm as ever as they walked past the paladins guarding the dungeon. You have re-entered the dungeon, Abyss of the Damned. Every time, they had to go deeper and deeper in the seemingly unending dungeon to find new zombies to kill. Past the 5th floor, there were no longer simple ramps but a giant pit, directly through the mountain, with a carved spiraling staircase going around it. That was surely where the name Abyss came from. They had gone as deep as the 14th floor, but no matter how hard she looked she couldn't see the bottom of the hole. The stairs weren't slippery, but the lack of any kind of railing was worrying. The zombies were gradually getting stronger the lower they went. According to Ovohan, the weaker ones would reappear in a few months, owing to the cursed nature of this underground abyss. A terrible monster resided at the very bottom, held by seals placed by the first oracle himself. They farmed XP in the 14th level for a few hours. It was mostly clean of undead now. Overhun looked a bit tired and would probably call it a day there. The zombies this deep had started being a bit of a workout even for him. Sophia used to be the one tired from walking, but now he was the one tired from fighting. Oh, how the tables have turned. Magisterium, may I suggest something? What is it? He grumbled, resting against a wall. Can we continue for a while? I'm almost at level 50 and I would honestly appreciate it if I never had to come here again. The smell is killing me. The old man grumbled for a while, drank some water and got back up. This shall be our last outing in this abyss then. I'll have you know that I too dread spending more time in this damn place, he said, stretching his shoulders, and paused for a while. Let's go. He fell right in. You are quite the involved Saintess. No other had reached 50 this fast. I hope you will diligently perform for the church until the day I die, so that I never again have to set foot in here either. Trudging through is certainly a trial, such was our given duty. Your wish just might come true, old man. May his will guide us. Sophia performed the religious salute she had learned at the orphanage. May his will guide us. Overhun in his golden armor observed Sophia for a while, sighed, then turned and made his way to the spiral staircase with a heavy gate. All the while, Sophia was frantically dumping mana in her newest skill, Dai's Kuva updated novels on NOVELB.com. Lead the dead. The Saintess is the saint of the dead. Nearby undead are more likely to be neutral towards the Saintess. The Saintess may spend mana to influence nearby undead. The cost and efficacy will vary depending on the intelligence and level of the undead as well as the kind of influence being exerted. With the zombies on this floor all being around level 150, each cast cost her hundreds of mana, but she had such a massive mana pool, she still managed to nudge the almost 30 zombies left on the 14th floor towards them. They slowly made their way through the dusty corridors. Sophia had about half of her mana left. Lead the dead, reached level 14. We will reach the stairs long before the zombies reach us. The duo smoothly reached the abyss. They proceeded to go down another level. It didn't take long for the few zombies to show up. They were still just as boring and stinky as the ones from the first levels, just way tougher. Overhun was engaged in a fight against 5 of them. There were more a bit further that hadn't been alerted yet. Sophia unsheathed her dagger and stabbed at the first fallen undead's head. It took her a while to finish it, the thing moving until its whole brain was turned to mush. Your party has defeated Sinner Zombie, LV. 158. The Magisterium was still busy with the undead coming from the front. A few weeks back he would have just casually swung his sword and every low-level zombie would fall. Now he had to weave holy spells in between his sword strikes. He used 2 of them most of the time, some kind of holy strike, sending forward an arc of light cutting through the undead's flesh, and some sort of regeneration spell, closing back any holes in his armor and cleansing him from the undead's blood and gore that stuck to him. Sophia used some more mana to lead the other zombies in the corridor closer. Dealing with so many at once wouldn't kill the old paladin, but it might be enough to force him to retreat. These zombies were probably around his level after all. He wouldn't intentionally fight more than a few at once. He tried to hold for a while but he was getting slowly overwhelmed by the numbers. We need to retreat, go back to the stairs, he yelled at her. In between 2 strikes of his sword at the group of undead, he still sounded confident. Yes. Sophia jogged to the stairs. She quickly checked her resources. Health, 245 245. Stamina, 36 245. Mana, 8,959 29,000. This will have to do. Your party has defeated Sinner Zombie, LV. 151. It only took her a few seconds to reach the stairwell pit. Without Overhun around to light the place, her dagger was the only light source around. She couldn't see very far but she could still make out the zombies coming from the upper floor. They were just a few steps up, all bunched up, completely blocking the way. Sophia summoned blood, spraying the wall and stairs around, even sending some to the first row of zombies, who didn't care and just kept slowly going down the stairs. She took extra care to have a lot flow down in front of the entrance. She took a deep breath, then cried out as she threw herself toward the wall. She still tried to land not too harshly on the stairs but it had to look convincing. Face against the floor, laying dead on the low-sloped steps splattered with blood, she tried her best to be completely still as the zombies kept coming toward her. If she fell correctly her feet should just show up through the entrance for Overhun to see. The man was very quick to react. The clunking of his armor was clear as he rushed back to his Saintess. She had hoped the man would slip on the blood and fall straight down the abyss, but despite his fast pace he managed to stop and be steady. He had a quick glance at the Saintess down on the floor and the horde of zombies clambering down the stairs. Some were even stepping on the girl's back as they approached him with newfound interest. Shit. The zombies from the 15th floor were still tailing him too. He let down his sword to grapple and punch the zombies in front. The steps were too narrow to use the sword properly. He managed to push a zombie down the hole. Then another one. He did as he could but his massive frame was as much a handicap as it was an advantage. He couldn't easily go forward without stepping on the Saintess too, but doing that would be as good as snapping her in half. If there was a chance she could be saved he still had to try. That's how badly the church needed to summon new heroes right now. He managed to throw a good dozen of undead in the pit, sustaining a few injuries in the process. He was casting his regeneration skill non-stop. The bare-handed zombies, despite their frail looks, had enough strength to dent and bite through his armor when they managed to get a good grip. He slowly advanced to get over the Saintess. It was a tough process getting his armored feet around her without crushing her while also grappling the zombies. But at least now they couldn't stomp on her as freely. He hoped she was still alive. The zombies from the 15th floor were there too now. Two of them squeezed through the doorway to the stairs and grabbed the man from behind. A blow of his armored elbow threw the ones from behind off balance, sending them stumbling down the steps, but two new undead came right after them. Slowly getting overwhelmed, the man was delighted to see a bright ray of holy light coming down from nowhere, shining brightly on his armor and around him. God is helping us. He rejoiced, brimming with newfound conviction, as he threw one more zombie over the edge. Contrary to his expectations, the zombies only got more aggressive under the holy light.